What did your friend do that accidentally turned you on? I was cracking jokes with a coworker and when she laughed at something I said she pushed at my chest and that "oh stop it you" kinda way, and oh boy I damn near melted right then and there. This one girl started tickling me. When I started tickling her back, she started to moan and said she was sensitive there. Awkward drive home. I came back from freshman year college to visit high school and walked into the auditorium, where an incredibly cute girl I was friends with saw me, stopped what she was doing and literally ran up the aisle and jumped into my arms to hug me. Plot twist. Married 26 years and have a son. Was on the bus for a field trip in high school. I was a little late. The only open seat was next to my crush. I was in grad 12, she was in grad 11. It was a 6-hour round trip. And the person you sat with was your partner for the entire trip. She had a tank top and wasn't wearing a bra. It was a bit chilly on the bus. On our way back she was cold and didn't bring a sweater. I had a long sleeve on so I handed her my sweater. She put it on and snuggled into me and fell asleep. So cute. When we got back to town I offered a ride home. We ended up making out in her driveway. A week later I got my sweater back asking for a refresher of my smell. The sweater smelled just like her. I asked her on a date that day. We dated for 2 years. She was the popular girl in our class. She said "I love you" to me as a friend, I think anyway, or I'm just incredibly f***ing dense. I didn't like her but it still made my heart flutter. Held my hand for a few seconds. Just happened a few days ago. She was driving and we held hands for a while. I'm still evaluating why that had such an impact on me. As a guy I decided to fall asleep on a close friend's lap who then proceeded to stroke my hair and lightly pulling it. It was really hard to fall asleep cause I was more worried that I'd get a boner from that. A group of us went to a firework display and during the usual louder and bigger finale fireworks she jumped, grabbed my arm tight and didn't let go. Not sure what happened inside me but yeah, that did it. I had this friend that while having long phone call sessions, she used to talk to me in this seductive sounding Colombian accent and called me bizcocho, which is cake in Spanish. Never thought being called a dessert would be hot. Or maybe I'm just weird. Really cute girl I had a crush on sat in my lap on the school bus headed home because there weren't enough seats. This same girl also told me I don't ever ask guys out because that's their job. Holy shit, I was so stupid. Edit. Thanks for the award. One of my first few ever. A colleague friend took care of my wounded knee during work. We were alone in the canteen and he was very sweet and caring. Guess I'm not used to that. Edit. She dried my motorcycle seat with her sleeve while I was putting my helmet on. When he whispers into my ear. Even though sometimes it's just something silly and not SI. He was driving and I was riding shotgun. He had to reverse to parallel park and turned his torso towards me, putting his arm around my seat in order to look back. He did that so confidently and effortlessly that it made me feel a little funny. You mean my good parking skills could actually be useful? Ruffled my hair. It wasn't that big a deal. But she was one of my close friends and that just. Whoa. Benjamin. I thought you were gay. In a hotel room on a school trip with a bunch of my friends. We were of course talking about sex and kinks and shit. And it went a little something like this. Friend. OP. Do you like to be choked? Me. I wouldn't know. Friend. Throws me back on the bed and chokes me. Me. Comma plus. Ole. Ole. Comma ole. Comma ole plus. Question mark? Question mark? Exclamation point. Exclamation point. Question mark? Comma plus. Edit. There are no accidents. Master Uguay. I offered him a sip of my drink and he made intense eye contact with me as he slowly put the straw in his mouth and took a nice long sip. I found it kinda weird to be turned on so much by him sucking on a straw since I don't have a dick. We've been dating for over 2 years now. We were in some math class in high school and she was tutoring me mid-class. She was leaning over next to me as I was sat down and she had her hand on my back. She was almost whispering into my ear how to figure out this problem. Something about her voice was so soothing and arousing. It was very sensual and I still think about it often. Nothing ever happened with her. We grew apart after school. Something very similar happened at my job recently though, so it brought me back. A friend of mine I had a crush on sucked on my fingers. As a joke kinda. I remember a girl classmate friend liking the smell of my deodorant and just grabbing onto my arm and then proceed to walk beside me. What kind of deodorant? I told her a joke and she smiled so much. Looked at the ground then gave me a "you're so funny" look. I honestly wanted to date her since then. He jumped up, grabbed a fire escape ladder, pulled himself up and climbed all the way to the top. Just oh dear. That's how I learned I have a thing for people pulling themselves up. He and I were watching a movie when he gave me a hug. While hugging me he gently ran his hands up and down my back. He didn't mean anything sexual with it. I on the other hand have a very sensitive back and was severely turned on by it. The next day he made fun of me for being ticklish. I then admitted to the truth about that. Needless to say he did it again later. We've been dating for over a year now. See. A close friend from uni pulled my ponytail firmly enough to get my attention because I didn't hear him call me. Had to catch my breath after that. We're married now. When he flipped between languages whilst talking on the phone with his mother and then asking me to pass him his wallet. I knew people could switch it on and off like that, but I've never seen the flow quite as effortlessly. We were neighbors. She just kicked out her ex-BF. And we lost power due to an ice storm. The power was restored later. But her heat wasn't working right. She called it in. But the maintenance people were busy with calls to fix heat in other units too. We were hanging out at my place watching movies and basking in my heat. Though it was still chilly. So we were sharing a blanket on the couch. Snuggled up together. And drinking whiskey. She passed out on the couch. So I put on an extra blanket on her and went to my room. About 1 hour later. She walks into my room and just falls into bed next to me. Gets under the covers. Snuggles up to me. Then says I'm cold and passes out. I dunno. Maybe I felt wanted and that she came to me for comfort. We didn't hook up or anything. The next morning she woke up. And she made me breakfast. And went back to her apartment to get her heat fixed. Edit. WTF happened between me posting this and now? Multiple things. First, in a party he danced with me and lifted me in the air. I'm not thin and not many people tried this with me. Then on a trip we made with friends. His cousin made a tent using sheets and a bunk bed. We went inside to read manga on his phone. He put his arms around me so we both could see the screen. Before anyone asks, he wasn't into me back then. But now we've been together for nearly 4 years. Drive his car. I've never been into cars. Or particularly into car guys. But I looked over at him since we were talking and we were going pretty fast and I dunno. My body wasn't ready to look at my friend driving his fast car, I guess. He still does this. He takes my shopping bags and puts his hand on my back as we cross streets. I'm short and I have a limp and he's so kind and caring about it. Edit. My phone has been blowing up today. Whoa. Quick frequently asked questions. I asked him out 3 times now. About 2 years apart each time. I was very politely rejected. We are great friends. And I'm happy with that. He's a joy to have in my life. The limp is from a very serious injury I had a few years back. I'm not actually a grandma. But I do love tea and crochet, so make of that what you will. I'm not abnormally short. I'm just regular, can't reach the top shelf and my feet don't touch the floor from chairs short. He's worried jackasses in giant pickups won't see me. He's not wrong. I've had a lot of near misses. Thanks for the kind words. I'm at work so more replies later. But I'm glad my wonderful friend's kindness made others smile too. He's cool like that. Girl was really affectionate and hugged everyone. When she got to hugging me I was really awkward, so I admitted that I had never hugged a girl before. She said, and I quote, "It's fine, I'll be your first time." All my friends were laughing at how that sounded, and high school me was rock hard. Have had several female friends bite me in a playful manner. My back is an erogenous zone for me. Whenever a friend of mine gets too huggy I need to quietly extract myself from them. LMAO. She was my female best friend at the time. We went out to watch A Star Is Born. She rested her head on my right shoulder. I was on cloud 9. I miss her. She was pulling me like aggressively but playfully. There came this weird comfort I had never felt even from my parents. I found restraints on his bedposts from an encounter with an ex and made fun of him. Then asked him how they work. Instead of telling me, he proceeded to put the ankle restraints on me and threw my legs over his neck and showed different ways he could FCK me. I've known this dude since I was a kid and he's family to me. But I instantly wanted to drop my panties and say FCK our childhood. Let's ruin a friendship. We used to do this thing where she'd kiss my cheek whenever we said bye. She kissed my neck on accident because I moved. I think someone distracted me at a party. That's one of my sensitive spots. And yeah. Edit, we've been dating happily now for 6 years. Had a friend who got a tattoo on the back of her neck. Decided to kneel down in front of me so I could see it. Never been so happy for willpower in my life. Last thing I needed was her turning around to find a tent. Whisper in my ear. Omelette du fromage. I have never been ladylike. So I was play fighting with a friend and he pinned me down and shocked me a little. I still think about it sometimes. Yeah, I was never really the ladylike type either. I mean, I'm a dude, but still. Was very cavalier about getting changed in front of me. Just taking her bra off under her top to get comfortable is a good one too. We were going to a picnic with our classmates. This was in 10th grade. I'm doing second year of college now, and we were in this deluxe gigantic bus. We actually played hide and seek in the bus. Anyways. So while we were playing, I crossed my legs and sat down under one of the seats. And a female friend of mine came to the same spot and asked if she could hide with me. I agreed and she lied down and placed her head on my lap. But her head was exactly on my penis. It kinda turned me on, but I was trying really hard not to have a hard on and creep her out. Luckily, my efforts were not in vain. I still keep in touch with her and actually mentioned this to her a few months before COVID hit. She admitted that she knew she was on my penis, but didn't want to move because she thought that would make me feel awkward. We had a good chuckle and we're still good friends. Probably wasn't accidental, but I was drinking with a friend of mine one night and she was bitching about her boyfriend at the time. I had always been interested in her, but I also respected it when she got into relationships. Even though I really didn't like this guy she was with. She said she was gonna go to bed and that I could crash on the couch since I had been drinking. She started stretching in front of me and said that she always stretches before bed. Now I wouldn't have questioned this. But she was sticking her ass right in my face and she was getting into some pretty suggestive poses on the floor. She went to bed and the next day thanked me for letting her vent. A lot of people told me she was trying to FCK and I should have went for it, but she had been drinking and had a boyfriend, so there were 2 red flags for me to not even try. Edit. Thanks for the awards. When I was a freshman and taking a 6 AM class and going to practice an hour after school, she let me take a nap with her lap as a pillow and played with my hair. She was so relaxing. Also, another girl got drunk and nibbled on my ear and I was like, "Osh tea." Was talking with a coworker and her friend walked behind her and tugged her hair as a joke. Her reaction was a quick lip bite and eyes rolled up. It happened so fast, but I had to walk away for a moment. Not really a friend, but my first boyfriend when I was still finding out how attraction works. pulled the collar of his shirt and leaned his head to the other side because he wanted to scratch his neck. IDK. I was having a drink with an old friend a long time ago. At a point after a brief pause she just looked at me, smiled and said, "You're very handsome." You know. It got a little quiet. Awkward, and we carried on drinking and chatting, and soon it was like nothing had happened. But from that moment on I never failed to notice the striking blue of her eyes, and my feelings became slightly complicated and conflicted. It didn't last, of course. Just bizarre how a compliment can change a perception. Especially for us men who receive so few. We barely speak anymore. We're both married and she has a son. Of course I love my wife with all I have and all I am. But there's always that memory. I've never forgotten it and imagine I never will. Sat beside each other. She laid her head down onto my lap. I went into panic mode and promptly jumped in my seat, making her sit back up. You idiot. My crush felt my hoodie because it was soft. IDK, it felt weird and turned me on. I'm terrified of being choked. Having people touch my neck etc. after an incident where I was attacked and raped. I thought I would spend my whole life with that being a really serious never ever touch my neck kind of thing. Which it was. For several years. Until my best friend, who is the 6'7" monstrosity of a human, playfully lent their hand on my neck. Yup, so it turns out I just needed it to be someone I trust. In a non-SZUL setting. To unlock the ability to be turned on via neck being touched. God damn it. Brain. So close. But so far. She asked me to touch her thigh. She was very proud of them after working out. Little did she know I really like thighs. Narrator. She knew. Didn't douche tea. But we were rock climbing and the rope was too tight, so he helped me untie it so he got close enough for me to catch his smell, and he actually smelled so good. Instant turn on. Might seem weird. But it is what it is. Guy here. Senior year of high school. A guy dares me to give a massage to my girl best friend when she sits down. She sits down. I start giving her a shoulder massage, which I've been told I'm very good at, and she lets out a couple of soft moans. And completely relaxes. I had never really been attracted to her until then. Then I stopped and she slumped back. Tilted her head back so I was looking at her upside down, and she said, "Don't stop." So. That was some feelings I felt. Since this got a fair amount of views. Nothing ended up coming out of it. She had a boyfriend at the time who was jealous of me for quite some time according to her. I was the friend. She had hosted a party with our friends. We had been on the same beer pong team for a bit and I had been jokingly giving her a hard time about missing some shots. To which she responded by saying that she'll slap me, an inside joke, it won't even been hard. I stared at her. And she raised her hand to so. And while maintaining my gaze, I quickly grabbed her by the wrist and held on for a second before letting go. She quite literally said that turned me on and then asked if I heard what she said. I said yeah and continued playing. Edit. I should have added this sooner. But I had my reasons for not doing anything. Let alone the fact that she was already hooking up with an acquaintance who was also there. I was making coffee in my AeroPress for us and pressing slowly on the top of it like you're supposed to. When she shouldered me over a little and leaned on my hand to push it down faster. It was cute as FCK and I'll never forget it. Edit. Oh sh*t. This is too many upvotes. She's gonna see it. Hi. Sorry. Damn, our coffee has finally primed itself for horny jail. Choked me playfully. Now Christian. Remember Jesus.